The title of our next book launch is Carefree Days, Many Roles and Many Lives. The speaker for the session is Pran Nevile and moderator is Shahid Nadeem. Shahid Nadeem is playwright and he has been involved in Pak-Indian relations through theatre, and he is a very good friend of Pran. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome to you all, and special welcome to Mr. Pran Nevile, who's no stranger to Pakistan, or at least to Lahore, because I think although he is a resident of Delhi, but I think he spends more time in Lahore than in Delhi, and he, I think, himself perceives, or sometimes even introduces himself as son of Lahore. So he's one of the outstanding people from the generation who had witnessed partition and the freedom of the two countries, India and Pakistan, and has written quite extensively about his memories of Lahore or pre-partition days. He has been a diplomat for most of his working life, you can say, but ever since his retirement from diplomatic service in India, he has, at a later stage, he has turned a writer and extensively written about the culture and about history and about his own professional field like economics and related issues. Right now we have the privilege of launching his memoirs called Carefree Days, which has recently been published in India by HarperCollins, and now also available here in Pakistan at the Liberty bookstall outside, and maybe in other stalls also. Now, he may not, well, he does look like a person who has had a carefree days, although he has been a diplomat, which requires a certain kind of discipline and certain kind of lifestyle. But he has maintained his carefree nature, which has then reflected itself in his books. For example, he has written about Nautch Girls of India, and let me see, there is at the book, there is some information about his work, which includes एंड पे है
शुरू में होंगे
बुक्स का जो है अच्छा हाँ ठीक है. One of his books, which has recently been, which was published by Oxford University Press and later on has been reprinted by the Readings in Lahore. It's called Lahore, A Sentimental Journey, which has been a great success and a popular book for people in Pakistan.
It will be launched,
yeah, and it is being launched on the 19th of this month in Lahore at the Government College, his alma mater. Love Stories from the Raj. Raj has been his particular affair after Lahore. Nautch Girls of India, Rare Glimpses of the Raj, Beyond the Veil, Indian Women in the Raj, Stories from Raj, Sahibs, Mem Sahibs and others, K.L. Sehgal, Immortal Singer and Superstar, Marvels of Indian Painting, Sahibs India, Vignettes from the Raj, and Raj Revisited. So, but right now we are talking about his carefree days, and I would like to ask Pran Sahab to share his memories of pre-partition Lahore. And his love for Lahore and his alma mater, Government College Lahore, is such that it appears on the cover of the book. This is the Government College, which still has, at least in terms of its building, it still has its old glory. But maybe Pran Sahab will like to share some memories of his college days and the Lahore of like 30s and 40s, which I think has some fascinating accounts and also not only revive memories, but also it makes us understand what we have lost in the process of post-partition developments. So Pran Sahab, about Lahore.
Thank you. Thank you, Shahid Nadeem. First, I must thank Amina Saeed and, of course, Oxford University Press for inviting me to this Islamabad Literary Festival. In fact, I've been coming here regularly. This is my third visit. But to answer your question about Lahore, my friend Saadat Hassan, a very distinguished Pakistani journalist, whom I met in Washington, then of course in Delhi, he used to call me. He wrote many pieces in Friday Times about me, even 10-15 years ago. He used to call me, like Manto was Chalta Phirta Bombay, he said Pran is a Chalta Phirta Lahore. So that I still remember, but Lahore for me, it's my hometown. I was brought up here, I was educated here. So my fascination for Lahore has been a part of my whole existence. And I was very keen to write about Lahore of my days. So I did not visit Lahore during my diplomatic career. I had many opportunities to visit Lahore, but I did not do it because I wanted to preserve those images in my head of my days in Lahore. So I said I must first complete my book before I visit Lahore. That is precisely I did. I came to Lahore after 50 years in 97. By that time, my book had was in second edition, and it was a pirated edition in Urdu had appeared here, Lahore Jab Jawan Tha, and even English edition, copies were available in Pakistan. So when I came to Lahore, for the first time after 50 years, I already had a number of pen friends, I should say, or those who had visited Delhi, and of course Shahid Nadeem and Madiha Gaur are one of them, you see, because they were the first friends I made in Lahore, in Delhi, sorry, and then of course other was Dr. Ajaz Anwar, who I had not seen him, but I invited him for some conference there because he became my pen friend the day he read my book in 93. After that, he started exchanging correspondence. So I invited him to a conference in Chandigarh. I didn't have seen his face. He had never sent me a photograph. And I went myself to receive him at the airport. And I was looking here. Then after half an hour, he suddenly is so short, you see. He just smuggled his way and came to my back. And since then, he is a very dear friend. In fact, today, I have more friends in Lahore than in my Delhi. And this is a fact.
So after 50 years, when you visited Lahore,
that makes me, as he says, any opportunity, I make it a point to visit Lahore and spend at least a week, because the flight is only once a week. So it suits me so that every time I spend 1 week in Lahore.
so how did you find it? I remember, I think I was the one who accompanied him to visit old Lahore after his 50 years separation. And can you imagine that the moment he entered the walled city of Lahore, he was our guide. He knew which way to go, which street is called what, and which square, which chalk, and all the things associated with Lahore. He was like a fish back in water, and he immediately took us to his house and his friend's house. So I would like to ask Pran Sahab, what did he find the new Lahore? How was it different from the Lahore of his days?
You see, naturally, the memories of old Lahore are very much in my mind and keep, but you never, everything must change, and so if other cities have changed, Lahore has changed, but I should say changed for the good. It's now a very big city. In my days, it was only 4 to 5 lakhs, and today it's almost 10 million, almost 10 million. So it's new roads, new construction, all that. But I'm not concerned with that. It is the feel of Lahore. 2007, when my Pakistani edition of Lahore was launched in my alma mater, and the media coverage was fantastic. I had never seen such media coverage in India or anywhere about a book. Every newspaper covered it, my interviews, full page and all that. And then they came with the headings that according to me, Lahore cannot be described. It has to be felt and experienced. It defies definition, defies description. It is something which is totally unique. And that is why, you see, I have been invited to so many partition or independence related conferences, and every time I'm asked to speak on Lahore. The 50th anniversary of India's independence, University of Texas at Austin had a series of lectures, and they asked me to speak on Lahore, as I had written Paris of the East. So that was the inaugural lecture in the University of Texas at Austin. I have spoken about Lahore in the North London University. My friend Dennis Judd always tells me to speak about my Lahore, because they said Lahore is something. Then there was Coventry Conference, you see. It was a Punjabi conference of Punjabi intellectual writers from Pakistan, from India and Punjabi diaspora. So again I was asked to speak about Lahore. So that is what brings me to Lahore every time that I can make it.
जरा कल्चरल लाइफ का बताएं, उस जमाने की जब आप बच्चे थे लाहौर में, क्या लोग बच्चे क्या खेलते थे, बाजारों गलियों में क्या होता था, क्योंकि अब वो कुछ खत्म हो गया मेरा ख्याल।
कई चीज़ें ख़त्म हो गई। सबसे जो चीज़ ख़त्म हुई है वो मेरे लिए बसंत फेस्टिवल था। I brought my grandchildren. I was bringing them almost every year till 2007, you see, and to show them about the festivities, Bengal. And you had taken me to the old walled city and taken me to the terraces and taken photographs. It was such a most hilarious festival, and Lahore was the capital of kite flying in the whole world. No other place in the world had that kind of kite flying which we had, and the expertise of making kites was also unparalleled.
अच्छा, ये when you were a student, I believe you were this was part of your curriculum to study and write about the blessings of राज की बरकतें, तो कुछ उसके बारे में बताइए।
You see, I belong to a generation what you call Anglophile. So it was the British, you see, and I belong to that. I'd heard stories about from my own grandfather that how the British, when they came, there was total lawlessness in Punjab. Punjab has suffered a lot during all these invasions, and the British brought so much peace and prosperity also, because Punjab became the darling of the British rulers, and within 10 years, 1849, and within 10-12 years, they had the All India exhibitions here in Lahore in 1864. And Toronto Market, which has been preserved fortunately, was the scene of that exhibition. So Anglophile means, you see, we were all taught about the contribution of the British for peace, for so many modern institutions and everything. So that is why when we were taught simple chapters of English life, so in our matriculation, there was always that the textbook was there to enlighten us about the life in England. And a part of that was when we studied history, then they wanted to teach us the blessings of the British, Angrezi Raj ki barkatein. ये हर हिस्ट्री किताब में होता था और ये सवाल ज़रूर आता था. It was almost every examination described the blessings of the British. No criticism, only you had to narrate the blessings. अंग्रेजी राज की बरकतें.
और उसका कोई एक स्टेटमेंट होती थी, बड़ी फार्मूला, वो क्या था?
नहीं, वो स्टेटमेंट होता था
जो आप लिखते थे,
वो उन्हें होता था इन्होंने रेलगाड़ियाँ लाए हैं, ये लाए हैं, एजुकेशन लाए हैं, इंग्लिश लाए हैं, ये सब उनकी जो बरकतें होती थी कि इन्होंने किस तरह टेलीग्राफ पोल लगा दिए, बिजली ले आए हैं, सब चीज़ें जो होती थी कि देखिए कुएँ का पानी की जगह नलके आ गए हैं. सो ऑल दीज डिस्क्रिप्शन वेयर ब्लेसिंग्स ऑफ द ब्रिटिश राज. And my fascination for the Raj period is so much obsession. I have written a chapter, Obsession with the Raj. I have done 7 books starting from Nautch Girls of the Raj, then Indian Women in the Raj, Love Stories from the Raj came out, that was in 95. It is 7th reprint and it is still selling for the last 20 years. That is Love Stories from the Raj. Then there is Vinets from the Raj. Then there is Paintings in the Raj. So there is a more distinguished Raj specialist here. My friend sitting here is Azuddin. So he is an artist, he is an art historian. I am also a small-time art historian, nothing compared to them.
अच्छा, इसमें you have talked about Nautch Girls of the Raj. So you have been to Japan also, and you have been interacting with the geisha girls, and also about the ladies of the Hira Mandi, and also you have compared geisha with Ganika tradition in India. So can you just give us because this has been one of your pet subjects, how would you compare the Nautch Girls and geisha or Ganika?
I don't compare all these artists, performing artists. Each has its own very special attributes. I don't compare them, but they have been an integral part of Indian society. Call them the courtesans, call them the singers, dancers, Nautch Girls, the wife, whatever you call them. But their contribution in our preserving our performing arts is so great that it has been my mission to restore them and to give them due respect for their contribution. And I am glad that my book, Nautch Girls of India, came out more than 20 years ago, has brought so much, it has even inspired other people to come out with a different interpretation, different description of those who were just dubbed as fallen women, and we are trying to, look at them with a great respect for their contribution. And that has been my mission, and which I continue to do that. I have written about the great singer of Hira Mandi. Her name was Tamancha Jan. People had forgotten about her. Nobody knew. But when I met her after 50 years in 97, when she was in her mid-80s, she was so happy to meet me because she remembered our meeting. I celebrated my own wedding in 1947 with my boyfriends at her kotha. That is the celebration I had in those days.
Wow. So from like you have talked about your wedding, but it has another aspect to it, and you have written a whole chapter on elopement in your book. So and this is elopement or love in the most turbulent times, like 1947. So how was it eloping and then having marriage while all this tension in the city or in the region?
You see, I always wanted to do something little different. So it was after this Indian cinema, it became a fashion to fall in love. So we are young students, we were all looking for, we used to have imaginary girlfriends. And then I remember how to write a love letter to an imaginary girlfriend. Imaginary, I used to tell them, they asked me, you see, because I was a very good student, first class, first and all. So I told them, start your love letter, dear so-and-so, and give whatever name you. Sorry to upset your mind, which is bound to be perplexed at the sight of this letter which bears a hand quite foreign to your eyes. So this was romance of my days. Then of course I had romance. I had civil marriage in Delhi, and the English deputy commissioner, he said this is the first civil marriage he is doing for high caste Hindus in his whole career. In fact, he presented a bouquet of flowers at his own cost, which was very rare for a British to do it. But after I had done that, my parents, my father and mother, you see, they rushed, you see, because to Delhi, I was at that time Delhi, and we came to Lahore and we had a ceremonial wedding right from railway station, number 5 platform, Frontier Mail. A Sony band was there, and in Tongas, at least 10 Tongas with the band only.
Wow.
It was called Griha Pravesh, entry of the bride. Because my father explained to the friend that situation 47 is not good, I can't take the bride, whole marriage party to Delhi, so I am just going with a small number of people and we will have everything in Lahore. This is the story of my elopement and marriage.
What did they, like Savitri, your wife's family, what did they have against you? You were a handsome young man with the civil service job and good family. So what was the problem?
You see, problem, to tell you very frankly, problem was that in Hindus, they don't marry even fourth cousin. She was only my second, third cousin. So her father was conservative. And they said that since I am keeping company all the time with Muslim friends, so I have imbibed all their
bad habits. But when they complained to your father, what was his answer?
No,
about this cousin
you see,
issue?
very interesting thing. My father was, he wanted me to be happy, that's all. My father went to my grandfather. We had some landed property in district Amritsar. He went to my grandfather. My grandfather told him, what are you talking? Lord Krishna married his first cousin, Rukmini. What are you talking nonsense? And tell Sutri's father that he should read about Lord Krishna whom he got married, and this cousin business is nothing.
Right. Okay, now before we may have a few minutes for any comments or
Yes,
questions.
please.
But before that, can you share us, like you were so much in love with Lahore and with this part of Punjab, and you were so emotionally involved. So when partition took place, what impact it had on you or people like you on the other side of the border?
It was very painful, I should say, because although I had gone to Delhi 2 years earlier, but my whole family was there, and from Delhi I used to come every month to Lahore. I had a circle of friends here, so losing Lahore and having to leave Lahore, that was a very painful experience. And naturally with time and for 50 years I did not come. Now Lahore is again a part of me, and I make it.
But I believe that Lahoris in Delhi are quite a prominent lot.
They're all gone, most of them. Very few are surviving, very few. You see, because in 47, a person has to be at least 16 to 18 to remember Lahore. But 16 to 18 means he should be 86, 87. So that generation is almost gone. When you came to Lahore, to Delhi, and this Lahore book was discussed, many of them were alive. That was about 15 years ago.
Right.
But now it's over.
It's amazing, and I may mention that very recently, like just a few days ago, one of my new plays has been premiered in Lahore, Anni Maida Sufna, and this is about a blind old woman who desperately wants to visit her native village in Lahore. So the memories of partition and the suffering it did create, it still survives, and we need to remain aware of that and learn from it. And we are very fortunate to have people like Pran Nevile, who are actually a bridge between the Indian side of Punjab and Pakistani side of Punjab, and we have the opportunity of interacting with him very often and to share, to learn from his experiences and to get inspiration from his memories. So we have a few minutes. If there are any comments, any questions, please.
Well, Pranzab, it's great to see you in Islamabad. Prior to that, I only had an opportunity to have interaction with you in New Delhi, where during my stay as Deputy High Commissioner there for 3.5 years. And I think Pranzab has been, is one of those persons who have been, who continue to make a phenomenal contribution to cultural interaction between India and Pakistan. And he has always been a great support to Pakistan there for projection of Pakistani art, Pakistani culture, Pakistani literature. Now, as Shahid Nadeem Sahab was asking you that how do you compare the Lahore of those days with Lahore of today, but if specifically talking about the literary circles, how do you assess the today's literary circles in Lahore? Do you find them, I mean, would you like to throw some light on their attractive aspects, or if there are some disappointments you are feeling about that? Thanks.
See, about Lahore and all art and culture, I do remind my friends in Pakistan that pre-47 art and culture should be remembered. They don't remember even the films made in pre-47, made in Lahore, which was an emerging center of Indian film industry. If partition had not taken place, it would have surpassed Bombay. Then the artists, the singers of Lahore, who dominated whole of India, we must remember them. You see, the great, I was with Yusuf Salahuddin. He did not know who was Dulari. I said, Miss Dulari, who created a sensation in Punjab when she sang her 78 record, Palla maar ke bujha gayi diva ke akh nal gal kar gayi, chai. That song was all over Punjab, and it was being released right up to 1944. It came out in 1924, for 20 years. Then Miss Dulari, I still in my book, there is a Lahore book, there is the advertisement of 1931. Dulari giving a stage performance in a theatre in Lahore, and the advertisement says, enjoy the lucky those who enjoy the gift of life, unlucky those who stay at home with wife. This was the advertisement. Come and see, watch Dulari singing and dancing. That was Miss Dulari. Then of course there are Inayat Bhai Dirowali. Nobody remembers those singers. There was the Zeenat, there were so many. And of course Mukhtar Begum was another greatest beauty of 1930s, actor, singer, producer, music director, that was Mukhtar Begum. We must remember
Ji,
that.
Shahnaz.
So I just wanted to, Pran Sahab, I just wanted to tell you that there is a person in Lahore called Dr. Umar Adil, and he has in fact done a lot of research and has made some very, very interesting documentary programs tracing all of these artists that you are talking about to Lahore, and then their progression towards the Bombay film industry. But it has been done. There has been a recognition of all of the people who are working in Lahore.
I'm so happy to learn that. Please let me meet meet him.
Yes.
Well, that is done.
I also have one question. Shahid ji just said that you interacted with geishas and so on. I was wondering if you'd describe the interaction for us
Not
slightly.
interaction, you see. I watched their performance. He calls it interaction.
But you have to read the book. There is a lot of
You see, there's
interaction
a
stories.
graphic description of my visit to a geisha house, which my Japanese host had taken, you see. I have put Tokyo Japan expense account paradise. I was a gift to them as much as they were a gift to me. Because on expense account, I was a diplomat, it was an opportunity for them to entertain the diplomat and enjoy themselves.
Well, Pran Sahab has been quite undiplomatic in this book when describing his love affair as well as his first visit as a student to the ladies. And I think in Carefree Days, about 1/3 of the chapter is devoted to that one visit, which is quite interesting. But for that, you will have to read the book. It also has some other interesting anecdotes. He has been a diplomat in East Europe. And one of the fascinating small anecdote is about a Polish woman who was allowed to marry, what was the Barbara's husband? The Indian scholar?
Oh, Peter Reiner.
Peter Reiner. So who was a dissident in Poland in the communist days, and she was allowed to marry him on the condition that she will report on him. And she carried on her duties as a good wife as well as a good intelligence agent. So there are so many other interesting stories. Carefree Days is available, Harper and Collins, and available at Liberty Book House and some other stalls. So I think we are about to, our time is up. So thank you so much, and thank you, Pran Sahab, for sharing your experiences.
I will conclude that the book starts, second chapter is Carefree Days in Lahore. And the publishers liked it so much, they gave this title to the book itself. And the last but one chapter is Lahore Calling. So it begins with Lahore and ends with Lahore.
Thank you.